Hey guys, it is John C Morley here, serial entrepreneur. It is great to be with you once again because we have another great master topic. Today is basically kicking us off with Saturday and just a lot of great things to share with you guys. I think you're going to be, how can I say, really happy with what I have to share with you tonight. And I want to thank you for being here, whether you're here at 10:06 p.m or perhaps you're here maybe at 10:06 a.m. It doesn't really matter when you're here, 1 a.m., 1 p.m., 6 a.m., 6 p.m. I'm just so glad that you're here with me. All right, so let's get right into what the master topic is for the whole week. And the master topic, ladies and gentlemen, is, you ready? What is M equals E times V? Well, we're going to get into that a little bit later. But the topic for tonight's show is more granular, formula alchemy. And that is unveiling the secrets behind life's hidden equations. So, what is, if I had to ask you this question, what is formula alchemy? Well, formula alchemy has to deal with the whole concept of creation. And so it's pretty cool because it allows us to take formulas and be able to create new things. Okay. And so people ask me all the time, John, what is alchemy? Because maybe that's probably the best place we have to start. What is alchemy? So, alchemy is the chemistry that is the mystical stuff that allows us to create. Whether it's converting base metals into gold or to find a universal elixir or a variety of other things, but really it's somehow viewed as the mystery. And it's really an art to be able to understand alchemy. The great Greeks used alchemy and allow it to reproduce other things or to give us knowledge that we didn't have access to before. It's a magical power or process of transforming a common substance, object, or idea into something else. And it's pretty cool. All right, so we understand that formulas can help us do great things. That's number one. So the alchemist code. What is the alchemist code? If I had to ask you that, what is the alchemist code? I think that might help us a little more. Um, it's a way that we're able to create new things. And it's not just about chemistry. It's not just about things we build. It could be about technology. And so it's really, really cool. The Alchemist is pretty amazing. And the Alchemist has this very unique way of being able to take something from where it is and transform it. I know that sounds crazy. The Alchemist Code, which we might have heard from a long time ago, is a site that had been shut down, but that's from some code and stuff like that. But I'm really going back even more primitive than that. I'm going back to the Alchemist Code of basically of the Egyptians, and it is said that they used forbidden arts to build a tower that rose to the heavens, and it was the Tower of Babel. This is something that blew a lot of people away. They didn't know how it got done. They thought it was magic. And so alchemy is a way of producing something out of nothing. A lot of times we think about creating our world, what we want to manifest. We think of that as alchemy because it's a way of taking something that's nothing and making something out of it. Now, we all know that our world comes from energy. I'm not going to get into that today, but alchemy is a way of interpreting. It's really a formula that we put together. So when we think about alchemy, which we're going to get back to in just a second here, unraveling enigmatic equations, and there's lots of them in the world. Okay, magic is in the making. But let's talk a little bit about what is M equals E times V. We're going to talk a lot more about this all week. So it is a formula, okay? And it's a motivation formula. The expectation value, okay, if we want to think about it, the X value is equal to motivation. So in a very simple way, E, okay, times our value is equal to motivation. So the value component of a formula is to consider how important or valuable the goal or the promise, like I like to say it to you, is. The expectation, the component of the formula, you'll consider how likely you are to succeed in a particular task. I like you, but that's really exciting to me. So if we can understand that we can assign E, okay, so E being our expectation, okay, times V, our value, the component of the formula, considering how important or valuable this promise is to you. And then let's take an example, like maybe consider the value of maybe college to you if you're not in college yet. You might ask yourself, why is college so important? Maybe it's more important after you graduate because you want to go back and you want to get another degree, like I know I'm working on. What benefits is it going to give you? And then we have things like intrinsic values. Those are things inside us, and those are things extrinsic. So there are reasons that we do things intrinsically, which is inside us, and extrinsically are things that are outside us, like things we can see, touch, taste, feel, etc. Where intrinsic things are more inside of the body. So expectations. An expectation is the component of the formula that will allow us to consider how likely we are to succeed in a particular task or that promise. And expectations often are shaped by our past experiences or successes or failures. A student might have a high motivation score for their certain class. And because the class is very valuable for their career path, the student is confident of being successful in the class. And the student has a very low motivation score. However, for the class that they're taking, the student finds this class only somewhat valuable and is not confident about success in the course. So I think sometimes in order for us to be successful, even though people say, gee, you need this in life. And I've heard this many times, whether I was in geometry or any other class, until I actually got a real world example, I'm like, yeah, I don't believe you. So a lot of things that I learned in grammar school, not to say I didn't learn them, but I wasn't as motivated because I didn't see how there was a real application in life. That was the bottom line. And when I got into college, I'm like, oh, gee, I can use this. There's something I can do with this. There's something I can make a difference in my life out of. So there are a lot of formulas in life that we'll go over. But formula alchemy is the idea of knowing what the components are, putting them together in a formula, and then being able to unlock a magical truth. Now, is it magical? No. But when we know what the values are and we produce, for example, let's just talk about something chemistry here for just a quick second. So what is the formula for making, I don't know, let's say for making hydrogen? Let's talk about that for a minute. So the formula for making hydrogen, I should say the chemical formula, because there's a little more than this for making hydrogen. It's composed of only one proton and one electron and one neutron. Hydrogen has the ability to share its lone electron with other atoms, and therefore it's able to form a bond, a shared electron. So again, hydrogen is composed of only one proton and one electron and one neutron. So one proton, one electron, and one neutron. Therefore, the formula for elemental hydrogen is H2. Okay? H2. Pretty cool, right? So the largest element at a standard condition is a gas of a certain type of molecule. With the formula of H2, it's called a dihydrogen, but can also be referred to as hydrogen gas, such as a molecular hydrogen or simply hydrogen. And so when we know what a formula is, we can put it together. So what is the chemical formula for oxygen? And there's a reason I'm talking about this. So oxygen is O2. Okay. It's a diatomic, therefore it has 2 electrons to complete its octet. And so what is the formula for oxygen? It's O2. The difference between the symbol and the formula is that the symbol O is free oxygen atoms, whereas O2 is 2 oxygen atoms chemically bound to form an oxygen molecule. Let's do this. What's the chemical formula for helium? This is one of my favorites. So helium, the chemical symbol and the chemical form of helium gas is He. Now, it's part of the group 18 on the periodic table, which is the noble gas group. I won't get really into that too much now. But how do you make helium? So the reaction happens in the fact of sun fusing 2 hydrogen atoms together to produce helium. It looks like a very simple way of taking an H plus an H equals an He plus energy. So the energy can be calculated by the famous Einstein equation, which is E equals mc squared. Pretty cool. So the chemical code for helium is He. That's pretty cool. So if we know what the formula is for a certain item on the periodic table, we can produce it. If we know a formula for something, we could bake a recipe. If we know a certain formula for changing our mind, we can repeat that. So what I'm trying to explain to you guys this week is the whole idea about formulas. So we're talking about M equals E times V. But when we think about M equals E times V, I want to give some examples this week, and that's what we're going to be diving into about how to apply this formula. I mean, who cares that I could tell you what a formula is? I can tell you lots of formulas, but they may not mean anything to you, right? Just like if I talk to you about, what is E equals mc squared? So what is E equals mc squared? Who knows what that is? So you might say, John, that's an interesting formula. Well, the equation E equals mc squared, E stands for energy, M stands for an object's mass, and C2 represents the speed of light, which is equivalent to 186,000 miles per second multiplied by itself. So think of mass as simply the quantity of matter present. So we have E, which stands for energy, what the energy is. So it'll be the mass, okay, times the speed of light, and that gives us energy. Pretty cool, right? So energy is a lot tougher of a concept, but we can also think of it as a property of heat or light. So what is mc squared useful for? Well, it is the world's most famous equation, but what does it mean? So energy equals the mass times the speed of light squared. Energy is equal to the mass times the speed of the light squared. So on a very primal level, the equation says that energy and mass are interchangeable. Energy and mass are interchangeable. They are different forms of the same thing. So energy equals mass times the speed of light squared, and that gives us our energy. So if we had to think about it in a simpler sense, the formula equals mc squared. It's the amount of energy released by the mass, which is equivalent to mass times the speed of the light squared. Pretty cool. So there's a lot of energy around us, and it probably can help us understand why we have nuclear reactors and nuclear weapons. I'm not going to get into that today, but E equals mc squared is a very, very powerful formula. And what I'm hoping to share with you guys this week is how, when we can start to appreciate a formula, and I can give you some examples about how it works, I think that is really, really, really cool. So the E equals mc squared is a very important formula. Again, it is energy equals mass times the light times the basically times the light squared. Okay, and you might be saying, John, this seems crazy. It's not. So the amount of energy released by mass is equivalent to that mass times the speed of light squared. So energy equals the mass, which is equivalent to the mass times the speed of light squared, which gives us energy. And this is the best well-known formula, but not everyone knows where it came from and what it means. So just like I took a few minutes to explain this to you, I think now you can appreciate what this formula means. And you can obviously talk about it around the bar or other places and have some other trivial knowledge. But really, so E equals mc squared. Energy equals the mass times the speed of light squared, which is equal to energy. Pretty cool. All right, guys, we're going to be talking a lot about M equals E times V this whole week. And we're also going to be talking about examples of how different things you can do that relate to this that can actually help you to become more successful. All right, guys, have yourself an amazing rest of your night. And if I'm not the first to wish you guys, and if you're celebrating Easter with myself, very happy, healthy, blessed Easter for you guys in the risining late tonight or tomorrow morning for Easter. I know I just went to Mass this evening at 7:30. And it is great to be here, great to be alive. And thank you so much for supporting all my great content. And I hope you guys really understand that there are so many gems in our world if we just take the time to sit back and appreciate them. I thank you so much for being here. Remember to like, love, and support all my great content. Be sure to like, love, and support my TikTok so that we can start streaming live to that. And I'll see you guys on another show real soon. All right, everyone, be well and take care, everyone. Bye now.